when you're unconscious, there is no distinction between the person living the experience and the experience. When consciousness starts to dawn, there is now a space between the experience and the experiencer. And that space allows you to perceive everything that's unspoken, or at least a certain degree of everything that's unspoken. So now you start to understand, realize, understand the real game that's happening. And then you also start to discover the chemistry of it, and also what's making the chemistry that specific flavor. And you get to also have like, that's one of the things that marijuana gives as a medicine. It gives you like separation. Because if you're always caught in your bullshit, when you smoke weed, you have a moment where the weed, you contract ganja, and ganja says, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. It numbs you, and that gives you the illusion of being separated from the experience so that you can look at it. Now, that's not true. It's through the medium of the ganja, but nevertheless, the experience is similar. And then you can get to observe yourself, analyze yourself. It's like everything goes in slow motion, and you can look at the scene and catch all the variables and everything that's at play. But that's with the weed, and so it ain't real, because when the weed effect is gone, you're back at the same place with a faint memory of what you've learned, but you haven't actually learned it because you didn't get the experience. It's the ganja that gave you the illusion of the experience. Let's not get onto the weed subject, we'll do that another time. So the process of consciousness is what gives you that separation. It allows you to see, and then you start to see the variables. You start to see the person who's also a puppet of certain powers, and you puppet of certain power, and how the powers combine, and what it triggers in you, and in which part of you it triggers it, and why it triggers it, and how you feel about it, and what it awakens even more, and what kind of thought pattern that you have. Like you start to like witness the code. You know, in the movies, like for example, I have an example. That movie Upgrade, maybe some of you have seen it. Maybe it's not the best example. It doesn't matter. Let's say you plug yourself in a machine and it gives you exactly the drug that you want. It gives you exactly the experience, like Total Recall. It gives you exactly the experience you want to have so that you have the high that you want. So consciousness is what allows you to step back and start to see the code, the mental matrix, and the emotions generated by that mental code of that trip that you're on. And it gives you the choice, well, if you like it, go full in. Because you know how we generally are. When we live in an experience, we always have a foot on the brake because we're scared of getting swallowed by it. But that's what you technically really want. And if you want something else, you can't opt out because you don't understand what's happening to you. You're secretly caught. So when you start to see the code, now you start to... I know I'm talking a lot to try to explain something that's almost unexplainable. Consciousness changes you. It changes the experience. It loses its mastership over you. Because consciousness is more powerful, it's greater than that intensity, or that high, or that power, or that so-called deity. Consciousness is even greater, so it gives you a greater perspective and a greater experience of yourself and the whole process. And if for a glimpse of a second you can just rest in it, even though you're tripping, it shows you that there's something more big than the experience that you're having. So it makes you realize that finally it's very small what you're enjoying. And that there's something better, should and must exist. If you have the courage to look for it, work for it, and go for it.